Pokes, welcome to an all new So Bad It's Good. This is your Friday episode. We're doing a Salt Lake City episode 10 recap. God, you know what? I try to bring an air of ridiculousness to this show, and then you watch an episode of Salt Lake City and you're like, oh, already ridiculous. There's nothing I have to really add to this. I mean, that's not true. We're going to add tons to it, but there's such an air of insanity and ridiculousness. I've said it all season. I've said it since last season. There's no, I mean, if you told me next year that this show was created by artificial intelligence, you know what? No, that's not true, because there is, I don't think a machine could ever create something this insane. And I tell everybody every week, you got to watch this show. If you're not watching this show, watch it a year down the line. You're going to have the time of your life. Now, this episode 10, it starts a little slight, there's a little bit of a ramping up through the first couple of scenes. Like, we have a serious scene with Angie K and her dad. Heather Gay comes back to the show, but then it all leads up to this breakfast at Mary Cosby's. Because, of course, breakfast at Mary Cosby's, which is like a breakfast at Tiffany's inspired breakfast. Audrey Hepburn. I mean, let's just call it out right now. What the fuck was Meredith Marks wearing on her head? My God. I mean, listen, at some point, Mary Cosby tells Meredith, like, if you're going to do, like, you can leave. And then Meredith goes to leave, and Mary Cosby's like, no, you don't have to leave. But then Meredith, like, really wanted to leave. And I think she must have caught her reflection in a mirror and been like, what the fuck is... What? Yeah. How many glam people got fired that day? Well, I mean, did they just like clip on like a bad toupee on top? I mean, it was supposed to be Audrey Hepburn bangs, and she ended up, I mean, it was insane. Meredith, one of the most beautiful women out there, and it made her look like what I imagine if you have a 3-year-old and you left them around scissors and then they just started cutting their hair. That's what Meredith Marks looked like. Like, even Mary Cosby was like gagged. She was like, what? Like, Mary Cosby, I mean, Meredith Marks' bangs should have gone to Sutton Strack's Surrealist Ball. That's how insane those bangs were. I mean, for Meredith, sorry, I cannot stop thinking about Meredith Marks' bangs. And that's the kind of little details in the show. This show also has content, it has storyline, but those little details are, to me, the magic of Housewives. When you're like, wow, I could do 30 minutes on Meredith Marks' bangs. Like, I want a whole documentary on what, like, HBO Max, if you're listening, could we do a 3-part docuseries on what led to those Meredith Marks bangs? Like, what the fuck? Why didn't we get glam on every other, like, episode of every other Housewives show? How can we not why didn't we get to see Meredith Marks clipping whatever that fucking thing was in the front of her head? Why didn't we get that lead up? We have to see everybody packing for every vacation they take on all of these shows. Why couldn't we have seen, like, do you think this works? Do you think I look like Audrey Hepburn? Yeah, Meredith, you look great. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I like it. Let's go, Or did she just not look in the mirror? There are so many things. And the only reason I feel comfortable going this hard on those bangs is because Meredith's beautiful. Even Seth Marks, this is what happens with when Seth Marks is in Columbus, Ohio most of the time. Because if Seth Marks would have been there, he'd been like, what the fuck? Meredith, are you fucking kidding me? It's the one time I don't want to have sex with you, looking at those bangs. I can't believe, shit, I really can't spend this much time in Columbus, Ohio at Big Lots, because I gotta worry about what you're fucking clipping to your head. Holy shit. Holy gee, we're supposed to be selling caviar, exotic products, and bath bombs, and you got a fucking skunk attached to your head. Not on my watch, Meredith. Not on my watch. How are you guys today? You probably just heard, since this will be a supersized episode, Victoria Lawson, who is on this season of House of Villains on E! She was also on The Bachelor. She was really funny. When you talk to these people when they're off reality shows, you get more of a sense of who they are as a person. You're like, oh, you're a normal person. And, reality shows can highlight the best and the worst aspects of your personality, or you can kind of ham up those aspects of your personality for television. And I think with Salt Lake, it's interesting, though, because we're 5 seasons in. And I feel like from where these ladies started to where they are now, it's amplified, but I don't feel like it's amplified in a fake way, like they're doing characterizations. I feel like they've just naturally, their lives have gotten crazier. I think Heather Gay has had a real hard time adjusting to the attention. I think it's something she craves and desires. But I truly, and I say this thinking that maybe next season will change, I feel like Heather is in a real flop era. Every one of her talking heads to me feels like I'm watching some sort of person at an open mic night. Like it's like da 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 da. It's like the rhythm is written like a joke, but the joke isn't that solid to begin with. So the person telling it is overselling it the entire time. And I don't think Heather started off as the term I overuse, reliable narrator, right? She was our reliable narrator. And I think ever since the reality Von Teese thing and the Jen Shaw debacle, I think it has really affected her. And I think we all blew so much smoke up her ass. And by the way, I'm kind of worried about Bronwyn with this down the line. Is we blew so much smoke up there that you never want to start believing your own press. You never want to think your shit doesn't stink, right? And I feel like Heather, I always say this, it's like she doesn't have the user manual for fame. So I think she's making a lot of wonky decisions. Her fight with Bronwyn doesn't hold a lot of water. And her overall narrative of, we've been through the fire together. We've been through war. It's like, girl, there was a fake Instagram account. The actual war was Jen Shaw. And you guys all failed to talk about the actual criminal in the room. But for me to say you are triggered and traumatized by an Instagram account only holds so much water. To me personally, it only holds so much water. So when, it's like, Jesus, Kim, there are people dying out there. Like, Heather, dial it back. Like, my God, I know you're hesitant around new people, but it feels like Heather is trying to win a war that hasn't even started yet. And I love Bronwyn. This is why I think she's such a good addition, is because Bronwyn she's rattled, but she's not rattled where it affects her in the moment. The thing with Bronwyn and what makes her fascinating, and I would say this about Jen Pedranti on OC as well, is that obviously Bronwyn has skeletons in her closet as well. I think that's what we want with our characters. We want them to be well-rounded like us. We have our good moments. We have our really bad moments. We have good people in our lives. We have bad people in our lives, and everything goes in phases. And yes, the obvious conversation in here is Todd, Bronwyn's husband, the Todd father. Now, we started talking about him a couple of episodes ago when he put his foot down. He's like, I'm not going to have it here. We're here to watch racing and have some fun and sun in the pool. You got to go, Lisa. And I thought that was kind of fun and kitschy for like an episode. And then the next episode, he seemed like he was in a bad mood. And then at the beginning of this episode, he has a scene with Bronwyn, and he seems like he's in a bad mood again towards Bronwyn. And yes, those are troublesome signs. And I will say these are only 43-minute episodes. Not this podcast. The podcast is like 3 hours. But these episodes that we watch and recap are 43 minutes long, right? So do we get the breadth and the depth of their relationship in those small amounts? No, but there is an actual truth that is being told. I always talk about that, the effect of some weird alchemy. The camera is able to pick up thoughts that are held behind these characters' eyes, right? So you're able to catch up in certain elements of their relationship, and sometimes the people in the scene themselves might not be cognizant or recognizing the behavior or the relationship that they're actually in. And that's what's weird, is because then they have to watch it back themselves and they start noticing things that they might have not been fully aware of on the surface, right? So I get nervous for these kind of relationships. Now, I will say, and I don't think this is a spoiler alert, but Bronwyn, Mary, and I think Angie Katzenevas were doing a ice cream activation in New York where they were serving ice cream, like Van Lucen or whatever. Anyways, Samaj Bludson, who is a baddie, he's been on a bunch of our Patreon episodes. He was there and was sending me pictures, and he said he saw Todd there. And, they're still together. They seem fine. And a lot of different relationships work in a lot of different ways. I think we've seen so many of these relationships on Bravo that we are so quick to diagnose their relationship, right? And I will be very curious to see how this relationship pans out. I do not think Todd really maybe particularly thought through the show that Bronwyn was signing up for. But I do believe he loves Bronwyn, and as Bronwyn says in this episode, as much as Todd can love somebody, he loves me, which I thought was a really telling sentence. We're all wired differently as people, right? We're all wired differently. Like, you know, you've heard that from other people in your life of like, well, they love you the way that they can love you. And you have to give that person grace and understanding. And I'll be very curious. But yeah, man, this Todd, you know, he loves an arms crossed moment. This man loves to cross his arms. When I see that Todd crossing his arm, and then, by the way, I notice I cross my arms a lot, and this past couple of weeks, I've been like, oh, Jesus, I'm starting to look like Todd. People were saying I made an Instagram post where I put Todd with Bernie Sanders. Remember Bernie Sanders at the inauguration when he had his gloves on and he had his arms crossed and he just looked miserable, but he was, you know, his face was like behind a COVID mask, but it was like that. And I put him and Todd, and people were like, don't do Bernie like that. And I was like, it's silly and funny, to me. But that's what that image reminded me of. And somebody was like, oh, he's just a grouch. And I'm like, I'm a grouch too, man. We all can be grouches. And I don't want to take away Todd's, you know, like that. If that's how he goes through life, that's how he goes through life. But welcome to Bravo, man. Welcome to the jungle. You're gonna die, because we're gonna give you our opinions. A Bravo fan's gonna give you their opinions, whether you like it or not. But I say all of this saying, man, I still love Bronwyn. But that's what makes her great, is that we see she's not perfect. She's got issues. Not perfect at all. Where I feel like Heather Gay is almost trying to come off as perfect now, the know-it-all. She's becoming like the teacher's pet. I used to say producer's pet last season, a little bit like Lala was, I think, in this season of Vanderpump Rules, this past one. But now I feel like she's like the know-it-all, the one that has all the answers when the teacher asks a question. Like if you're going to talk Mormon, she's got the answers, right? If you're going to talk relationships, she's got the answers. If you're going to talk betrayal, she's got the answers. The only thing she doesn't have answers on is when she hits her, like, you know, when she has a black eye. She's not going to give you a solid answer about her life. She's even called out in this episode because Bronwyn actually bought her a first-class ticket in case she did go on the Palm Springs trip. And she got her birth date. And Heather was like, you don't have my birth date. I've given different birth dates to everyone in this room, so nobody has my actual birth date. What kind of psychotic behavior is that? Are you fucking kidding me? You've given different birth dates to everybody in the room? And by the way, Heather, if you were actually to think about it for 30 more seconds, the fucking producers gave Bronwyn the birth date, your actual birth date, because you had to fill it out on your W-2 or however they bill you for your services, unless you're lying to Bravo as well. It would be funny that like Heather Gay actually turns out she's like, I'm 83 years old. I'm a very Beauty Lab and Laser has made me look 83 years young. Like, no, I'm 83, but I do look like I'm in my early 50s. So I don't know. Heather really got to me this week's episode. She's been getting to me a lot since the end of last season. But that's the beauty of Housewives, right? Didn't like Mary Cosby at one point. Now I like Mary Cosby. We can change our minds. It's okay. And you're going to change them a million more times watching Housewives. That's why it's so fun to watch Housewives. And it's so fun to watch Salt Lake, because there's just this air of ridiculousness that's already there that we can't bring to it. So you either just go for that ride, you enjoy it. I mean, who out there... I mean, I don't know if you're listening, if you hate it, but who out there hates Salt Lake? Who out there can't stand Salt Lake? I mean, I would be really curious what you think. Also, I was told to mention this. Spotify, if you're listening on Spotify, give us a 5-star review, but also I think you can leave comments on Spotify. So if I ask a question like, what do you think of Salt Lake this season? You can write a comment of what you think on Spotify, I guess. So we have tons of listeners on Apple Podcasts. I'm trying to get more people to listen on Spotify. But I mean, listen on whatever is easiest for you. And also hello to the YouTube viewers out there. If you look at me, I just worked out and I showered. So my hair is kind of damp. I love that my hair is kind of damp, and you'll watch it dry through the course of these next couple of hours, and you'll see how it gets a natural poofiness. where I look like Tom Hanks's character in Sleepless in Seattle. I always used to love Tom Hanks's different hairstyles in his movies. Like it was a little poofier in Sleepless in Seattle than Forrest Gump. It was a little tighter. Apollo 13, a little tighter. But he was also, he'd be able to grow out his hair in a poofy fashion, which is kind of like what my hair can only do two things. It can be like really cut down, or it can be poofy. That's all. Man, as a kid, I used to waste prayers praying for straight hair. I wanted straight hair so bad. I thought it would have been so cool. I got made fun of so hard for having curly hair back in the day, and it was much curlier when I was a kid. And people in junior high and beginning of high school, they would call me pubic head, which now is a badge of honor, by the way. Yeah, call me pubic head. That's a compliment, you know? I've got a luxurious head of pubic. We're gonna have fun today, you guys. It's Friday. Are you kidding me? Let's have some fun, right? And then we did the Beverly Hills recap yesterday. Thank you to Juliana Carrozza, who took beautiful notes. I'm going solo on this one, which I usually do on Salt Lake, which means it's going to be a lot less tight and a lot looser, a lot stupider, and all of those things. And then tomorrow I'll be working on the OC recap, and you'll have seen the OC reunion part 3 tonight. But I will say, now that it's out, since this will be out at midnight tonight, that scene where they pick back up cameras at the very end of the reunion, and was it Heather and Tamra that went to the dinner with Alexis and Johnny J after the reunion, and John said he did hear the accident. So Jeff Lewis was fucking right the whole time that he did hear the fucking accident. And first off, Heather and Tamra going out to dinner after the reunion with Alexis and Johnny J feels a little, ugh. I really feel like they bet on the wrong horse this season. But I found it very interesting that they realized the power of Shannon. I'm still Shannon. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She killed it, and they had to come kiss the ring on that last scene. But I think they only kissed the ring also because Shannon accepted responsibility, or is willing to accept responsibility for what a fucking mess she is when she overdrinks, right? So it's a little different from, say, Karen Huger, who just will not talk about it no matter how much the producers try to get her to do it on Potomac, but Shannon's willing to do that. I did also find it interesting that Jen Pedranti and Katie Janela were not in that last scene. And that was kind of a little suspicious to me as well. So yeah, I can't wait to hear your thoughts about that. And I can't wait to talk about that final part of the reunion. Okay. I always hate this point because I know we have to start the journey of actually recapping the show. So in my head, I'm like, what else? Should we talk about anything else? Oh, that I did want to mention this. I'll probably mention it at the beginning of the show as well. If you are a Patreon member, you can sign up at patreon.com/so bad it's good. I did want to mention, Sandra told me to mention that sign up, if you want to sign up for Patreon, sign up on the Patreon website and not the app, because now they charge more through the app now, because Apple will get a cut of it or something. So just use the web version. I know that's a pain in the butt. Just go to patreon.com on a web browser, because I guess if you sign up on your phone or something or on the app, Apple gets a cut of it. Does that make sense? I'm trying to make that make sense to me, but hopefully that makes sense to you if you're going to sign up. We did a 2-hour Vanderpump Rules Season 2, Episode 3 recap. That was a lot of fun. I put out like 7 hours of content that's new over on the Patreon in the last couple of weeks. Okay, and I think that's 5-star review, all that jazz. Okay, YouTube, hey, hello, how are you? Okay, should we start? Yeah, why are we dilly-dallying? Let's get into this mess. So this week, I guess to go back to next week, where we left off was they were all flying back from Palm Springs. And remember, Bronwyn, they had 2 first-class tickets. Bronwyn and the Todd father, her husband, took those tickets, and the rest of these people flew coach. And Whitney was like, thank you. I love coach. I'd love to fly it. And Lisa was like, I can't believe we're flying coach. I haven't flown coach since college. What do you think I am, a normie? And like really was throwing a shit fit about it. So I thought we were going to start there. I thought we were going to start with like the plane debacle. That comes up later in the episode. And what did you guys, I was on Jeff Lewis the other day, and Jeff was on Lisa Barlow's side and was like, that is ridiculous that you do not tell somebody in advance that they are flying back that way. And I think it's just a matter of your own personal wealth potentially, because listen, man, I've flown Spirit Airlines happily. I mean, not happily. My back is still messed up from. I mean, Spirit Airlines, they'll just like they sit you on a piece of raw metal. You're just like sitting on a metal like that. I mean, they charge extra to wear a seatbelt on those Spirit Airlines flights. No offense if you work for Spirit Airlines, guys. But yeah, I mean, a flight's a flight, a 43-minute flight or however fucking long it was. Who cares? But Lisa Barlow cared. Lisa Barlow thought this was a huge, I mean, just like, oh my God, what will the mean streets of Salt Lake City say about Lisa once they find out she has flown coach? You do not want that. You don't want that info getting out around people because she'll have to wear the scarlet letter of flying coach. So this was like this big to do. I did not. But that's the beauty of Housewives too, is like, yeah, get into petty arguments about flying coach. Something that I'm so shocked that it's even a thing. But to these women or Lisa Barlow, it is a thing. Man. Oh, God. Anyways, we start off and we don't have scenes from the previous week. We go right into it. And all of a sudden we hear this like kind of gentle chiming fairy tale music, which I was like, oh no, are we about to get another promo for Wicked? By the way, folks, if you don't know, Wicked, the movie based on the musical, is out now. Please, I'm just begging the Wicked advertisements to stop. I will see the movie. But we see the snow-capped mountains of Salt Lake City, and it's like, diddling. And we see like this gold statue outside of Mary Cosby's house. And all of a sudden, like this fairy tale, like kind of book opens up. And we see a picture of Mary Cosby in what looks like a pink dress robe with surrealistic eyeballs on it, which kind of looked like Erica Jane's outfit she wore to Sutton Strack's Surrealist Ball of like, yeah, me and Mary Cosby, we shop at the same places. I'm Erica Jane. And on the cover of the book, it says, meet Mary Go Lightly. So it's not Mary Cosby, Mary Go Lightly. And we have a British voiceover of like, meet Mary Go Lightly. And we see Mary carefully walking down what looks like these kind of marble stairs in her house. She's like carrying candles and shit like that. And she's like, I'm going to break my neck. My shoes are too big. The producers are like, oh, we're praying for Mary to fall. That would be such good content. But she's like slowly walking down and she's like these oversized pink slippers that match this pink eyeball dress, right? And she's just picking up weird. She has like a weird white shoe in her hand. And she's like, what is going on right here? What is that? And she's setting up a table with these workers. One's in like a COVID mask. One isn't. So I don't know who has to wear masks and who isn't. But it looks like they're setting up this big table for this brunch or breakfast in Mary's foyer. And the voiceover continues, a lady of exquisite taste. And Mary keeps like commenting, I know that's not decoration, what I just gave you. That's not decoration. Not in my house. And the guy just like kind of gives her a shrug. And she's like, oh Lord, oh Lord. Already, I think this scene would have annoyed me with Mary Cosby in seasons past. But now I'm like, Mary Cosby, you're so funny. I love it. The voiceover continues, who appreciates the finer things in life. And we see all of these details, these flowers being arranged. A lady who loves to entertain. And she's still talking to one of the employees. She's like, I wanted to put a picture of Audrey Hepburn. And we see the iconic photo of Audrey Hepburn in Breakfast at Tiffany's. And the voiceover is like, perfecting every detail for her guests. And Mary keeps talking. And she's like, the fire things, can you take them off? What are the fire things? And I feel like if you even say the word fire things, we should leave them on. We should leave the fire. Do you mean the fire alarms? Do you mean the smoke detectors? Let's leave them on. How about that? Why don't we just, you know what? Let's go above Mary Cosby's head and say, let's leave the fire things on. The voiceover continues, but unfortunately, not everything is going well with her friends. And we flash back to the Palm Springs party where Lisa Barlow is FaceTiming Heather Gay. Hey, Heather. Heather, what's going on? And Lisa's like, we miss you, girl. We wish you were here. And Bronwyn's like, it feels a little weird. I went to the bathroom and you guys called Heather. And Lisa's like, I don't want to fight with you about Heather and Heather being here. And Bronwyn's like, Heather is shit-talking me while I'm trying to fix it. Figure it out, Lisa. I love, figure it out, Lisa. And then we cut to the 25th anniversary wedding / Mob Wives party where Meredith Marks is talking to Angie Katzenavas' husband. And she's like, it was hurtful to me when you used my son and said that I was playing him as a pawn to deflect from something that I didn't even do to begin with. And then to the Palm Springs dinner, where it was like the anniversary dinner for Bronwyn and Todd, their 10th anniversary. And then they start talking about favorite sexual positions at the game. And then it got into deeper conversations about this podcast that Angie Katzenavas' husband, Sean, went on. And Sean's like, listen, I didn't say anything about Brooke. I didn't say anything about Brooks. And then Seth Marks going, proof, biatch! That's how we speak on the mean streets of Columbus, Ohio. Proof, biatch! Proof, biatch! I've never seen somebody get that amped up that quickly. And he's just showing off his phone. So, proof, biatch! And Whitney's like, oh my God. The voiceover continues with Mary Cosby arranging flowers. Will Mary's social gathering bring the group together? Or will she get burned? Hepburned. Get it? Like Audrey Hepburn. Oh, never mind. And then the book closes and it says, find out on Breakfast at Mary's. And we see the title of the book says Breakfast at Mary's, right? Okay, so that was ridiculous. But I'll give this show that kind of ridiculousness because it's great, right? In another show, if they pulled this shit on Roni right now, you guys would be livid. You would be like, how dare you do this, Roni? But Salt Lake, they've earned little bits like this, right? I feel that way. So we get our opening shot of the ladies. Once again, I will always say I do not know why they are not using the new cast photo, because if you look on your like DirecTV or however you're watching this, you'll see the new cast photo that they took where Heather Gay is in the middle. On this photo, Angie Katzenavas is in the middle, and they're using old shot of Heather Gay. This like the shot they use of Heather Gay on the end is like 50 pounds ago. Like, I'm not joking. Still looks good, but it's like a different Heather Gay. But they've put Bronwyn in. I'm so confused. I'm staring at it directly, and this is just, this is a Photoshop nightmare. Okay, so we open up on Salt Lake City. We see the mountains, and all of a sudden the choral music mixed with a little synth plays. And we see Whitney playing soccer with her son. Let's see if I know the move still. And they're kicking the ball. Oh my God, kid, when have you gotten so fast? Don't run away from mommy. Please don't. Oh. She has to sit down to take a breather. Okay, so we cut from that little opening scene and we're at Phoenix Vine Plants. And we see Angie Katzenavas with her daughter, Electra. And she says, the daughter, Electra, says something about putting truffle salt on her salad or something yesterday. And Angie's like, is that what I could smell in the house? By the way, that's what happens every time I have gas. I'll be like, oh, it was the truffle salt I put in my salad yesterday. Yes. And Angie's like, well, you see, that's what happens when I'm not there to manage. I'm the one that'll stop you from the truffle salt, right? I'm Greek. And Electra's like, you're kind of a helicopter mom. And Angie's like, well, give me some examples of what makes me a helicopter mom so I can work on it. And Electra's like, this conversation, Electra gets baddie of the week. Bam. Do you see that kind of sparkling dialogue? This kid has got it. Angie says, how's school going? And we have this montage of Angie being a helicopter mom of how's school going? Do you like the black and white ones? I want to cook for you. Should we talk about your laundry a little bit? So what do you like in your, I don't know. So Angie keeps going, can you imagine if I didn't helicopter though? What do you think you would be thinking? And Electra goes, that I would be free. Whoa, oh, that I would be free? Oh my God. That I would be unshackled. That I would be able to have unlimited potential. Under the Greek reign of Angie K, I am not reaching full Electra potential. And Angie just goes, oh my gosh. We see more snow-capped mountains. I swear to God, every time I see those snow-capped mountains, usually I would say beauty, but within the confines of this show, it is a David Lynch / John Waters film. We see the sign, welcome to Park City, and then all of a sudden we see a sign that says, Kimosabi, and all of a sudden I'm triggered because you're thinking it and I'm thinking it. I'm like, holy shit, are we about to see Kyle Richards? When anybody says Kimosabi 3 times in front of a mirror, Kyle Richards appears because this is Kyle's favorite hat store ever. And they must have a couple of different locations. This is the one in Salt Lake, right? And it says Kimosabi since 1990. Oh, I remember the days of 1990, pre-Facebook. We actually just talked to people, read books, you know, the like. Hey, it's me, Morgan Wade. Don't forget about me. Sorry, I'm still thinking about the Beverly Hills episode from this week. So we're at Kimosabi, and all of a sudden we hear Lisa Barlow going, oh, I love your turquoise jewelry. Oh my God, is this vintage turquoise? How much is this one? And the guy's like, let's see, this one here, it comes out to $2,200. Yeah, $2,200 for this turquoise. And Lisa's like, I'm going to buy this. And I'm like, geez, Lisa, after last week's coach seat debacle, I really am so curious about Lisa's finances. You're just going to drop $2,200 on a little turquoise thing that I could get like a swap meet? I'm sure it's high quality, but do we really need the turquoise? Get a bolo tie for John while you're at it. My God. And then she keeps going, I might buy that necklace too. It reminds me of like when Jen Shaw used to be in scenes. All of a sudden we see Heather Gay, womp, 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 walk into the store. And we do that whole bit they always do, like, oh my God, you look cute. Hi, hug, hug, kiss, kiss. And Heather looks like shocked. She's like, I thought Kimosabi was a sushi bar. And Lisa's like, hee. And talking Heather Gay goes, I don't know what I was thinking. Kimo sounded Japanese to me, and I thought that sabi was just like a play on wasabi. Okay, I'm calling bullshit right out of the gate. Right out of the gate, this is bullshit. Heather Gay watches Housewives, period. She watches Beverly Hills. She knows exactly what Kimosabi is. I'm sorry to be tough on Heather this week. I'm sorry, but I know she knows that this is a hat store. And Heather Gay is poking around, snooping around enough where she would have looked this up. She's not just be going like, oh, I assume it's a sushi spot. No, she's looking up where she's going to film. No, I hate it. Am I the only one seeing this? Is it me? Am I the problem? Is it me? Anyways, the guy's like, hey, would you ladies like to step into the bar? And Heather's like, yeah, we'd love to go to the bar. Well, follow me, ladies. Heather says, regardless, I've been waiting to eat all day, and now I'm starving and surrounded by hats. Oh my God, you guys. And we see all of the Kimosabi hats, very expensive. And you guys, there's a secret door at Kimosabi. And Lisa's like, oh my gosh, is this the secret? Oh my God, I love secret passageways. Tin roof rested. And Lisa's like, welcome to heaven. And so and then Lisa says, I feel like baddies. I swear to God, she says, I feel like baddies, which we're the baddies, you guys. So Lisa, thank you so much for the tip of the hat to us. And then Heather goes in and goes, oh my God, I feel so secret. Oh my God. Wow. Look at us. And she's doing like a weird little walk, like, ooh, she's like sauntering in. She's like sneaking into the speakeasy. And the lady behind the bar is like, oh, can we get you something to drink? And Lisa goes, you know what? You know what? I would love a spicy margarita. I can't stop noticing now, Lisa Barlow, any hard T, like what? She'll go, what? You know what? I would love a spicy margarita. You know what? I love it. This lady is so busy and so rich, she doesn't have time to pronounce the T's in what. Also, remember, this is the iconic Kimosabi store that Lisa Rinna had Kendall Jenner, her personal friend, tequila instead of Kathy Hilton's tequila, and it just set everything up. Kathy Hilton was like, "You're a fucking bitch, Lisa. I have your number." Okay, so they do spicy margaritas midday, and Heather's like, "I just love this whole vibe. Look how cool the hats look." And then the lady behind the bar is pointing out, going, "Look at this hat. You know what this is?" And they're like, "Rattlesnake?" And the lady is like, "No, it's a raccoon penis." Boing, boing, boing. Seth Marks is like, "Proof, biatch! Hey, I heard raccoon penis. Hey, I'm in Columbus, but it's like I have sonar on these ears. I hear raccoon penis. I'm there, man. Yeah." And then Lisa goes, "What? No, that's too much." And then Heather's like, "I don't want to see any sort of penis type thing." And they take off the hat and show Lisa and Heather the raccoon penis. And Lisa goes, "It's really small." No, yeah, it's not going to be a huge uncut raccoon penis, Lisa. It's not going to be like the fucking, what is it? I'm trying to think of who's the... I'm trying to think of like huge donged people, and all I can think about who just recently on Bravo. Oh, Abe the Babe from Roni. Abe Leashy supposedly has a huge dong because in the mid-season trailer, Aaron reveals his penis pics to the ladies, and they're all like, "Abe's packing." So, God, good for you, Abe. Which, by the way, Abe is going to be on So Bad It's Good next week. We did the interview yesterday, and it was a lot of fun. That dude's like kind of a cool dude, man. Anyways, Lisa in a talking head goes, "It has never come into my mind that raccoons have a penis. Like, I'd like to live in a world where they don't have penises and they're not on hats. Like, who comes up with this stuff?" Who comes up with this stuff? It's almost as crazy as like somebody not wanting to fly coach on a 43-minute drive. Oh my God. I mean, yeah, it is a little weird, right? It's a little weird to like be proud of a raccoon penis on your hat, but like, listen, the world is weird. We all have our weird little things. And also, I feel like thou doth protest too much. I think Lisa has nonstop thought about raccoon penises. Like, oh my God, I can't believe my secret fantasy of raccoon penises has made it onto the show. They've really done their research. Oh my God. John, I'm visibly shaking right now. I can't believe it. This girl had a raccoon penis on. Okay, so in the scene, Lisa Barlow, I just never thought I would hear her say this in a million years. She tells Heather Gay, she goes, "I missed you on this trip." Are you out of... Am I supposed to believe that at least this... By the way, Heather Gay should never... And I don't think Heather Gay truly is hurt that Bronwyn didn't invite her on the trip. But I will say, Bronwyn did Heather Gay the biggest favor in the world because now Lisa has almost started treating Heather Gay as an equal. This has never happened yet thus far on Housewives in Salt Lake. Lisa Barlow has always treated Heather like a second-class citizen at times. I'm saying this, and I want to say it again. I love Lisa Barlow. I just rarely agree with her. But my God, I will fight for her honor any day of the week. But yeah, she's like, "I missed you on this trip." Who? I was like, are we in the sunken place? What is going on? I just never thought I'd hear it. She goes, like, "I didn't like being there without you. I felt unsafe." And Heather's like, "I've never felt excluded like that." Heather, you've always felt excluded. That was your whole season 1 bit, was feeling excluded. And we all got behind you and said, "Do not exclude Heather Gay. She's awesome." So Lisa's like, "So it felt like super bad for me." So it was like all about Heather being excluded, but then it always works its way back to how Lisa feels. "It felt super bad for me. We heard a totally different story from Bronwyn." And Heather's like, "About what? What? About why I wasn't there? Yeah, about why you weren't there. What did she say? What did she say? What was her version? Well, she was saying she really wishes you were there. And Heather gives this weird face, but she's got a little too much, Botox at this point where I think, she's trying to make a quizzical face, but it's like it's barely registering. So Lisa's like, she said like she invited you to her home. You said she was venomous and it didn't go well. And we flash back to Bronwyn telling Lisa by the pool in Palm Springs. Bronwyn's like, Heather also dropped some bombs in there. Like, I'm two-faced, I'm conniving, and I'm mean. In the scene, Lisa goes, Heather, and when you left, she was in tears. So I feel like it made things really uncomfortable, especially when I called you from the hot tub. When Bronwyn came out, she was livid over you. And then Heather goes, well, hey, let's put a pin in it. She got mad that you called me, but she said she cried that I wasn't coming and she's sad that I wasn't there. It doesn't make any sense to me. Oh my God, is there a raccoon penis? Where did she go? Lisa continues, I was so shocked that Bronwyn had such a big reaction. And Heather's like, because she's confusing and nothing she says tracks. Oh, and then get this. So after we leave the hot tub, Bronwyn and Todd are in the bar, and he's like to John, like, if Lisa doesn't fix things with Bronwyn, you guys basically need to go. And we flash back to that scene where John is awkwardly coming in to talk to Lisa, and Lisa's like, what did Todd just say to you? He just said Bronwyn's real upset, and he said if it can't be settled out, that he wants us to go. I've said this before. I said, like, I think John was so calm because this has happened hundreds of times in their relationship. Like, well, we got the old heave-ho again, Lisa. You know the drill. So Heather has really active listening face. Like, I'm really listening to you, Lisa. I'm really listening. And Heather goes, like, leave the trip? Like, go to the airport? Yeah, and it really upset me. Why would they ask you to leave, Lisa? What did they want you to say to Bronwyn? I don't think I could have done anything right. I think unless I was like against you, I'm against her. That's not it at all. It was all about the fighting and the melee. It wasn't literally like Todd was like, you fucking tell that Heather Gay to shut her mouth. No, it was just that there was all noise and Todd doesn't like things over a certain decibel level, right? So Heather, you're giving ammunition to Heather in this scene because she already doesn't like Bronwyn, but she's now like, ooh, Todd, I've got a potential target. Ooh, I've got Bronwyn's kryptonite. I can go through the Todd father and potentially work at Bronwyn's nerves through Todd. Interesting. Eventually, all heroes will turn into the villain, right? So there's a big pause where Heather's just taking in this information and just like, oh my God, I just can't believe it. So we cut from that scene. There's tense music. Dun, 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 dun. And we go to Todd and Bronwyn's compound. And Todd is, I think in the outside area, though it still looks very concrete-like. And this is the Todd vibe. His arms are crossed with a sweater and a button-up shirt. And he's got his glasses on. He has a can of Perrier in front of him. And he's just looking out. He's just already you can just tell. I already feel like he's about to ground me. I feel like I've done something to Todd. I'm scared of Todd, but I know at the same time he seems like a teddy bear and I want to hug him and I want him to make him like me. So there's a lot of mixed emotions I have just looking at this image of Todd and Todd in general, because I feel like it's not dude, he's standing up for his wife in some areas, but I think it's also then being positioned as he's acting like her dad in a sense, right? And really my way or the highway in it, which isn't great, but, So he's just staring off, and then Bronwyn comes out with a little plate of food, and he's like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? Well, it's getting nice out here, Todd. It's getting nicer. It's still chilly. I've got a sweater on. Well, what's going on, Todd? And he kind of just shrugs, and he goes, you tell me. You tell me. And kind of looks at her. Well, I walked away from the trip feeling some kind of way about what's going on with Lisa and I. And he just kind of just this is why this guy must be a phenomenal businessman. I've never done business in my life. I do have a Wells Fargo checking account, but I think I just signed up for it. I didn't have to do business, but anyways, he's just staring kind of down, like just pondering. And I just can't tell if he's thinking about the situation, if he's thinking about business, the combination of the two. And he goes, the 10 years we've been together, I've never seen you act that way you acted this weekend. I've never seen it. And I know we've known Lisa and John for a long time, but for you to sit in the hot tub and scream back and forth with her is ridiculous. You thought I was screaming? And the way she says it, you thought I was screaming? Like she kind of leans in a little bit, and all of a sudden, it's like she loses 10 years. Like she becomes younger. Like, you thought I was screaming? Oh no. Like really genuinely concerned that Todd has said this. He goes, well, I think you were screaming. I was in the pool, remember? And by the way, we cut to a clip of Todd in the pool with a little mat, and he's like doing little kicks around the other men. And we hear Bronwyn doing her little monologue of, it's my responsibility to work out you and someone else. My ass better ride your dick like it's my job. I love little Todd's little pool kicks as his wife's going, it's my job to ride your dick. And back in this scene, he goes, what'd you accomplish? What'd you accomplish? Nothing. And Bronwyn's like, nothing. Yes, you're right. Well, actually, you ruined a perfectly nice afternoon. And she goes, I ruined it? And he kind of just shrugs. Well, that's what I think. That's what I think. And she kind of takes this in, and she looks a little teary. And she's like, okay, well, I guess you did what you thought. I've just never seen you act that way. And frankly, it's not very becoming of you, Bronwyn. And Bronwyn's taking this in and looks very hurt by it. He reaches for what looks like, I don't know, some kind of flatbread. I don't know, you guys. And Bronwyn goes, you don't see why it goes that way. Like they all yell. They all call each other dumb bitches. They all scream and yell. And dude, they all scream and yell. They all call each other dumb bitches. I deserve to use that kind of language of riding dicks, Todd, please. How do I interact in that scenario? And he goes, leave. That's how you interact. Leave. You leave. You leave. And she takes that in. And he goes, leave with your dignity. I mean, Todd, I love it. I love the lesson right here. But unfortunately, you're on the wrong network. Nobody leaves with their dignity on Bravo. I mean, leave with your dignity. Where are we? Can we count on one hand how many people have left with their dignity on Bravo? Nobody. They all come crawling back. Nobody has dignity. The sooner you learn that, I mean, Bronwyn, Todd, just in defense of Bronwyn, if you're listening, what up, Todd? Help me with business. But in defense of Bronwyn, dude, she's being more dignified than anybody else on Salt Lake for the most part. And if you even open it up to other Housewives iterations, she's being very dignified. Yeah, she's saying ride your dick and a couple of other choice words, but still maintaining a certain air of class and elegance. At least that's my vision, but what do I know? I shop at Old Navy, right? So she's taking this in a talking head. She's like, Todd's approval means a lot to me. And she pauses. And she kind of puts her tongue in her cheek. And a real long pause where you kind of, it's like chills. And she's like, Todd's approval might mean everything to me. And she's trying to fight back tears. So to not only be missing the mark, but be like on a totally different page from the mark, this is incredibly hard for me to hear. And she says it with such sincerity. And I just thought, this is another thing about what I love about Housewives. Because how common is that, right? Like we all have been like that with somebody, or somebody is like that around us, where somebody just means too much to us. You know, it's like their opinion of us means something. And in fact, sometimes it means everything. So those people in your life, sometimes it happens when you're younger before you have a little age and a little of wisdom, even though I don't have a lot yet. But you'll have those people where you're like, why did I fucking act like that? Why did I need their approval so much? Why did it mean so much to me? Now, this is her husband, right? They've been in a 10-year marriage. I don't know how long they were dating before that, but they've gone through shit, right? They've gone through shit with her daughter and him being a stepfather to her, and they've had a whole life. Also, he said, like, well, we've known John and Lisa for years. I want to know more about the knowing John and Lisa for years before this. That's how I want to know how truthful that statement is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do want to know where that all falls into play and, like, what kind of relationship and how close it was. Like, were they at Todd and Bronwyn's wedding, right? So she continues in the scene with Todd, and she's like, but my feelings are hurt, Todd. And she's chewing and trying to, you know, keep it all bottled up. And she's like, well, I was there. And she's like, but now I'm like more disappointed in myself that you're embarrassed at my behavior, you know? And he's just still arms crossed, shaking his head, looking down. And he's like, they are sucking you into this sewer that they live in of bullshit. That's a good t-shirt right there. The sewer that they live in of bullshit. Oh my God. I mean, listen, he's gruff, but he's a poet. The sewer that they live in of bullshit. Todd, you just described Bravo. You did it, Todd. Oh my God, Bravo. You need to use this as a pull quote. We're the network that's the sewer that will... Bravo is... The sewer? We are the sewer you live in. It is made of bullshit. But Todd's right. But unfortunately, Todd, she signed up to be in the sewer. When you sign that contract, you are agreeing to go into that sewer, unfortunately. He goes, and you just got to step out of it. You can't say, it's hard, especially with those nice shoes. It's hard. Once you're in the bullshit, it's hard to get out of the sewer. He goes, I've never seen you react that way. I've never seen it. And frankly, friends shouldn't bring out the worst in you. Todd, once again, spitting wisdom and pearls. We might not like it, right? It might sound gruff, but he's right. Technically, he's right. Friends shouldn't do that to other friends. But that's why this show really isn't about friendships. I always say they're coworkers. They're gladiators with boobs. You know, like, it's not friends in the way that we shouldn't be learning lessons from this, right? I mean, we should learn lessons from Todd, but we shouldn't be going around and this is how we treat friends, because it's just, this isn't it, right? In a talking head, Bronwyn says, Todd is not interested in mess ever, but I am really processing that Lisa and I's friendship is either not what I thought it was, or it's not going to be what I want it to be. And Todd doesn't like me to publicly show my emotions, but if we are really going to go all the way, Todd doesn't want me to privately show them either? I mean... In the scene, she goes, look, I'm going to this brunch with all of them, Todd. And he takes off his glasses at this point. And he rubs his nose. It feels like a lot for me to go in there knowing that Heather is upset with me. Lisa and I ended in a weird spot. And he goes, maybe it's time to, cowboy up, as they say, and change. Cowboy up? Cowboy up? What? You fucked with the wrong Marine. This is Todd, dude. But you kind of feel for Bronwyn. So she's trying to be tough around these ladies and stand up for herself with Heather and Lisa. But yeah, she's getting it from all sides, and she wants that support and that strength from her husband. And he's saying, you got to cowboy up. This doesn't matter, right? So we go back to Kimosabi. And Lisa's like, Heather, I feel like I ended in a good place with Bronwyn before I left the trip. Like, and Heather's like, I'm glad for that. And I'm not just saying that. No, but I know I was a good friend to you too. Like, I wouldn't feel good about myself. And Heather goes, I'm not worried, Lisa. Lisa, everything you say is gold. No, I wouldn't feel good about myself if I weren't being a good friend to you too. In a talking head, she goes, I don't want to be in the middle of Bronwyn and Heather, but Bronwyn put me in that position when she kept wanting me to speak for Heather. And I'm glad that Bronwyn and I got to a better place before we left Palm Springs. And I'm hoping these two can figure it out. So that's nice. A little Lisa going, I hope they can figure it out instead of fuck Bronwyn. Heather goes, she is not going to come into this group of girls where we are foxhole friends. No, you are not foxhole friends. Like I said at the beginning. You dealt with somebody that was acting like they were somebody on social media. The real foxhole friends is your situation with Jen Shah. But you don't talk about that. It's Foxhole Friends with Reality Von Teese. And she keeps going, we have been through the fire together, and I'm in a great place with all of you. I don't think she understands that, Heather. She doesn't get it. That's fine. I'll teach her. I'll teach her? Ooh, grody. I'll teach her? And Lisa goes, that's fair. And Heather goes, fuck, man. Cheers. Heather Gay never thought she would be in this position where she is cheersing with Lisa Barlow, man. And then she spills her drink over herself, which I think is very fitting. LOL. So we cut to the next scene. So you saw what I said. It's kind of slow going in the beginning, but it leads up to this merry breakfast. So this is like the real that was kind of a melancholy, sad scene. And now we got a really sad scene because we're at Angie's place. Her dad's arriving for dinner. We see that Angie is making what looks to be a salad. May I say a Greek salad? So by the way, her dog Celia, I forgot that she dyes Celia's, tail and her ears blue. This Celia, man. I mean, but even Celia is like, when she saw Meredith Marks's bangs, was like, it's not so bad. My hair's dyed. I mean, it looks a little weird, but you know, it could be worse. I could have Meredith Marks, Audrey Hepburn's bangs, right? So her dad gets there and he's like, thank you, thank you. And she's like, welcome to your favorite restaurant. And Angie is wearing Favorite Daughter, which I believe is Favorite Daughter. Isn't that the Foster, Aaron Sarah Foster's company? Isn't that right? That's their brand, but she's wearing it. So LOL, Favorite Daughter. And so Angie's like, oh, my best customer is here for dinner. And the dad's like, and the price is right. The price is right. He's such a cute older man, right? Sean is not there. He took Electra horseback riding, which is, it's dark. It's night. Are we doing like a nighttime horse riding thing? Anyway, so it's just her and her dad. So, you know, this is kind of planned as a serious scene. They do yamos. I believe yamos is Greek for cheers. Let's see. What is it? They're cheersing some kind of shot. Yamas meaning... Yamas are a set of ethical rules in yoga philosophy that represent right living. Yamas. Okay, here it is. What is yamas in Greek? In Greek culture, the word yamas is not just a toast, but an invocation of good health and a celebration of life. Derived from the phrase, Greek lettering there, I can't read that, meaning to our health. So this is great. Yamas. Do that, guys, at Thanksgiving. Yamas. In Angie K and her dad's honor. Yamas. Yamas. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. Yamas. Okay, so they're cheersing and starting nice, right? Little pause. And, you know, you can tell Angie's a little nervous, right? Like, you can tell she's a little nervous because I think... like I said, these are real, but I think they know what the goal of this scene is to talk about her feelings about her mom. So I'm sensing a little nervousness from Angie K. She's like kind of nervously laughing. And she's like, I've learned to be a good cook from you, Dad. We ate at home every night. And he goes, couldn't afford to go out. She's like, well, I know, but I don't think I really realized until I had Electra how hard you were working, Dad. You went from work to cooking food for 7 kids. And he goes, you know, you do what you have to do, you know, and then you take care of things. And Angie, I mean, like, think about this, you know, his wife is gone, Angie's mom is gone, and he had 7 kids, and he took care of all of them. And I thought, you know, this dude has stories to tell, right? And he must see somebody like Angie, his daughter, and be so proud. But Angie says, with Electra, I find myself being like very protective and a helicopter mom, which just, if you look in terms of production, that's why we got that earlier scene of her being a helicopter mom, because it leads us into this conversation. She says, I want Electra to have this perfect little childhood. And I don't want her to have a care in the world. I don't want her to have any worries. And it's different from how we were raised because... He goes, these are different days, you know? In a talking head, she says, I run myself ragged to try and be the perfect mom because I didn't have that. When I was 8 years old, my mother passed away. My mom was self-medicating with alcohol before she passed. And, you know, the last few years of her life, I just felt like I was on my own. So she was like 6 years old, feeling like she was on her own, you guys. In the scene, she goes, I think not having mom made me realize when I had Electra that I really missed out on the love that I give her. And I see what it was like, what it was supposed to feel like, and the attention and someone doting on me and someone home when I got home from school and all that stuff, that I didn't have. In the talking head, she says, today I was detangling Electra's necklaces, and I found a necklace that my friends gave Electra when she was born to remind her of my mom. And I saw it, and I had no emotion, she says. Like, how can I feel empty? This is a special gift to my daughter, and it was supposed to have meaning, and I felt empty when I saw it. This is the realest Angie K has ever been on this show. Honestly, this is the realest. And this is why, you do invest in Housewives. You don't want to give them just a one and done season, because you can eventually get to these moments. And it also then, like I've always said, kind of gives a foundation for this show to be so wacky and bizarre if you can have these moments of substance and real, where we all have gone through something like that of like, I just don't feel anything on something I should feel emotional about. It says so much about who Angie K is and what her motivations are and wanting this love that she did not feel as a little girl. I also want to point out she was detangling Electra's necklaces. Is that a normal mom thing? Like Electra's not there and she's just going through her jewelry, detangling? I need a detangler. I only have one necklace. She tells her dad, she goes, I never really talked to Electra about mom, really. And part of it was because I wanted, say that this was your yaya. That's Greek for mom, grandma. And she was beautiful. And she starts crying in front of her dad. And his dad just looking at her. And he's quietly emotional. And she's like, I didn't want to disrespect mom's memory. And he's still not saying anything. She says, for so long, I was mad at mom. If this was Todd, he'd be like, God damn it, don't talk about this on camera. Are you fucking kidding me? This is real emotion. Like, how dare you share this part? No, but the father, you can tell, like, it's this quiet emotion from him even. She's like, we needed a mom. And the dad stands up and goes over to his daughter and embraces her and hugs her. And I just thought this was so beautiful. And he was like, that's okay. That's okay. And he's patting her on the shoulder as he's hugging her. He goes, everything's fine. Okay. I mean, so beautiful. And Angie in the talking head goes, I don't want to be mad at her. Right? I don't want to be mad at her, but I'm still kind of mad at her. And she breaks down crying in the talking head. Damn, chills, right? Chills. Like, I'm so glad I'm even watching this scene again right now. Because when I first saw it, I'm like, let's get to the crazy shit. Let's get to Mary's. And you watch it back and you're like, this has such emotional resonance. And she's like, Dad, you were so good. And you can just tell this is a man of quiet power, that he did what he needed to do for his family. In the talking head, she says, I needed her. And I don't understand why you couldn't look at your kids and realize, like, you gotta get better so you can be present for your family. But I also understand that it's a disease. And I want to find forgiveness, she says. Hopefully Mary Cosby and your friendship you can build on that forgiveness together. But she says she values being a mother. So that lesson taught her to be this fantastic mom to Electra, but maybe she's a little too intense of a mom with Electra because she's given her everything and more that she didn't have. But I just thought, I thought this was a really, really beautiful scene. And it's interesting. It's interesting, obviously, we lost mom last August and, she was such a great mom. I mean, still such a great mom and loved us so much, me so much. And, I was watching the scene and, mom did everything for us, like if it was everything for us. She would give us the clothes off her back. She would take a bullet. She would do any of those things for us. Right. And you knew it. I knew it. I always knew it when I was alive. And I have the opposite of like, God, I miss that love sometimes. I miss that love And I know it's there wherever she's at. I mean, I can still feel obviously that string, that invisible string. But it's interesting. And now with dad, I think it's been so hard for my dad to pull himself out of this loss, obviously, right? But sometimes you want him to even show you the way, and he's dealing with his own grief and his own battle, and it's really hard because you want you want those people that you love so much to be able to look around and go, okay, I need to be strong for my family, or I need to help, and sometimes people just can't do that. It's hard. Everybody is going through their own personal private battle sometimes. And that's why you say things like housewives say of like, give people grace and give people space. So it was just a fantastic emotional scene. Okay, but now we're at Mary's. We're finally here on the morning of Mary's breakfast. Breakfast at Mary's. Enough of that sappy bullshit. Wipe your eyes. It's a new day in Salt Lake City, the creepiest place on earth, and everything is right in the world until Meredith Marks comes in with wacky bangs. So at Mary's, it's wild because we see five dudes in kind of ill-fitting tuxedos. I mean, truly, I'm freeze framed on this shot, and it is like this really interesting array of dudes with like turquoise vests and like black, it's like tuxedos with turquoise vests, but it's a motley looking crew. I mean, I want a reality show about these guys. So the first car pulls up to Mary's place, and it's Bronwyn. And Bronwyn is wearing these beautiful yellow heels, this beautiful yellow dress. She has the perfect Audrey Hepburn hair. I want you to pay attention to this hair because it's how you do it. We can compare and contrast with Meredith. And she goes inside, and there's a doorman inside the house. She goes in the door, and there's all of a sudden a doorman. Like, there's only 7 people that are gonna be here. There's a door. Like, if it just like you think there's gonna be like did we need the doorman? She's like, I'm Bronwyn, and then she checks Bronwyn off the list, and then's led into Mary's foyer, and she's like, this is amazing. And all of a sudden, it's just her. She's like, will Mary be out shortly? Okay, yes. So it's just her alone in this room with this awkward bartender. And Bronwyn's like, it's awkward to be first one, huh? And the guy must have been told, I think his name's Eduardo. He's been told not to say anything or they'd have to pay him, for like a line. But she's like, okay, maybe I'll take a drink just so I have something to do with my hands, right? Yes. In a talking head, she's like, typically I arrive fashionably, but not disrespectfully late to events. I like to make an entrance. But I am reasonably and appropriately scared of Mary. I do not want to upset the mistress of the manor, and look what it's gotten me. Right on time and super awkward. Just me and Eduardo. And she smiles at Eduardo, and Eduardo doesn't even return the smile. And I will say the whole time I'm just wondering, like, is Robert Jr. upstairs in his room with his wife? Like, did Mary say don't come out of the room? Like, where is little Robert Jr.? That's all I'm thinking. Like, did Mary say stay in the room, all the ladies are here? That's what I'm thinking, because that's where we saw, like, last week's episode when she's talking to... Anyways, the second person finally arrives. One of the penguin men opened the door, and it's Meredith Marks. And she comments on their vest. She's like, I love the Tiffany blue you're wearing. Mary is just a fine eye for details. And you could tell the men in blue are kind of, like, scared of Meredith because of the bangs. They're like, what the fuck is going on here? So Meredith comes in, and Meredith is wearing the iconic kind of Audrey Hepburn pearls around the neck, the black dress, black overcoat. It's just the wild bangs, right? And Meredith's like, you look stunning, Bronwyn. And Bronwyn lies and goes, so do you. And then she goes, what a perfect replica of Breakfast at Tiffany's. If Audrey Hepburn didn't know how to cut her hair. And Meredith's like, I think we did a great job. Yeah, I did. So Meredith's bangs, there's like this old sketch on Saturday Night Live. Martin Short. Martin Short is with Harry Shearer, and it was like a filmed sketch back in the day in the 80s where it's like two brothers that wanted to be the first two dudes to do Olympic, like the swimming, I keep saying the choreographed swimming, right? And they're like, we want to be the first two men. And Martin Short plays his brother, but his brother's kind of like a slow adult. And at one point he's like, he's like, I want to do this, but I'm not a strong swimmer. Go look up the clip. It is, I remember seeing it as a little kid and it stayed with me my entire life. But Martin Short's bangs in that sketch reminds me of exactly what Meredith is doing with her hair. And Bronwyn's like, there's going to be no fake bangs left on the internet if we all bought that. Bronwyn in a talking head goes, I thought I was really tricky coming with these little clip-in Audrey Hepburn bangs, and then Meredith one-upped me with whatever, octopus she put on her head. And they do another just shot. Like I want to project this at like the Vegas Sphere. I mean, because every angle, you just get a different, like, horrifying look at these bangs. And Bronwyn's like, it's a choice. So Bronwyn's like, what have you been up to, Meredith? I haven't seen you. I've just been busy with work, So, well, I haven't seen anybody since Palm Springs. I needed a little break, and she's like, crazy. It was crazy. And Bronwyn goes, Todd sat me down when we came back and was like, is this how you always are with them? Is there always the yelling and the gutter sniping? And I was like, I got a little lecture. And Meredith goes, you did? Her eyes wide, you did? Yes, about my behavior. He kind of was like, what? Or like, what is happening? You've got to figure out a way not to do that. And I was like, well, we'll see. Meredith's like, wait, what? I love the producers hearing this going, we've got a Todd problem. We have a Todd problem. And Meredith goes, well, I understand because that's not how I'm wired either. And the whole time I'm still it doesn't even matter the words coming out of Meredith's lips because all I'm looking at is those bangs. Like I want a Pixar film where it's just Meredith's bangs talking. Poor Eduardo's in the back even going, what the fuck did I sign up for? Is it worth the $70 I'm getting for this? And Meredith goes, yeah, I don't even know what I signed up for. I'm exactly like that. I'm not one who yells. And this is how tuned into these shows I am, because I'm like, oh, we're about to get a Meredith yelling montage. And we do. We go to the Palm Springs trip from last season where Meredith goes, you can leave. If they do a reboot of Lord of the Rings, I want Meredith to play Gandalf. Like, truly, you can leave. Anyways, Meredith goes, where is Mary? Anyways, we hear these heels click-clacking. And Bronwyn's like, I feel like I hear little heels coming. And Mary is changed out of her pink robe and slippers into this beautiful black dress with this beautiful diamond necklace thing hanging down her breastises area. And they're doing the whole, you look gorgeous, no, you look gorgeous, hello, darling, you look nice, beautiful, gorgeous, blah, 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 right? In Mary's talking head, she goes, with everything going on with Robert Jr., I have a lot on my mind. Mary is being served champagne, and I feel like when I do have things that are bigger than me, that is like almost beyond control, I always have to, I like to have an event, and then that's my way to escape. Like, I feel like it leads me in the right direction. And so they cheers. But I mean, I love that concept. I mean, that's so relatable, right? Mary is relatable, is that sometimes we escape our problems. I like that she's throwing an event, but she's throwing an event at the house. Robert Jr. is directly upstairs, right? She can't truly escape. So they're all sipping their champagne. A new person arrives, and it's Lisa Barlow. And she's kind of in that Tiffany blue / turquoise, like she's in like this jumpsuit. And then inside, Mary Cosby goes, Audrey Hepburn's bangs, Meredith. And Meredith goes, yeah, it's clip-ins. Yeah, we know, Meredith. We don't think you cut your hair purposely like this. She goes, Mary, I'll tell you something. It's clip-ins. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? But Mary goes, okay. In a talking head, Mary goes, I always say, like, anybody can buy fashion, but you cannot buy style. Style is in your DNA. And I don't know what that means. Does that mean she approves of Meredith's clip-in bangs, or she even realizes that it's a hot mess express? Bronwyn says, who else is coming? Anyways, Mary Cosby's voiceover continues and says, and I loved Audrey Hepburn. Her style was amazing. I wanted to bring that out of these women. Like, show me your style. And all of a sudden, we have Lisa Barlow being guided down by one of the tuxedoed men. And they're like, oh, Tiffany Blue. And Mary sees this, and she has like this internal zoinks face, like, zoinks? In a talking head, Mary Cosby goes, and what does Lisa do? Goes and buys my exact same outfit and wears it. And we see that Mary Cosby has worn this exact same jumpsuit at Watch What Happens Live. Lisa goes, I was front row at the Fendi fashion show in New York when it originally debuted. Mary probably bought it off the rack at Bergdorf's, but I saw it first. And we see Lisa laughing in the scene. It would have been great if she came in with that and a raccoon penis on her head. And then Whitney is being led in. Whitney in a black off the shoulders number with pearls and a pearl thing on her head. Pomp and Circumstance plays. And they're like, hey, Whitney's like, hi, what's going on? Mary, the house is stunning. It's gorgeous. And Mary's like, I love what you're wearing. You look beautiful. I mean, I just want to point out the change. Like, we just heard Mary Cosby tell Whitney that she looks beautiful, and I tell you, she meant it. She meant it. So Whitney goes, I like kind of assumed we'd all show up looking the same, because, I mean, when you think of Audrey Hepburn, breakfast at Tiffany's, you think of the classic black dress with the gloves and the bun, but I just put my own little flair on it with my headband, and the headband didn't come from Alibaba. Whitney says, my worst nightmare is showing up looking like Meredith. And then we get a shot of Meredith, and we see Whitney looking at Meredith, and you can tell Whitney's like, oh, girl, you done fucked up. You done fucked up with those bangs. And Whitney has his face like, it scares me. I don't like it. It's crazy. Angie is now being led in, and she has this beautiful, Tiffany blue flowers and roses with her. And Angie's like, it smells like Mary's beautiful perfume in here. I like that Mary perfumes her house. So she is led in to the foyer and gives Mary the gift. And Meredith is very judgmentally looking at Angie Katsunavis, like, ew. And with the bangs, it looks like Meredith's a supervillain at this point. Like, yeah, I see what you're doing, Angie Katsunavis. And then Heather Gay comes in, and she has like a white turtleneck looking thing with like I guess it's a beautiful looking white long skirt. And she's like, thank you for having me, Mary. And Mary's like, don't you look fancy? And they give a little kiss. And everybody's like, you look totally perfect. And Heather goes, hey, hey. And she's like saying hello, going down the line, kissing Meredith. And then she goes right past Bronwyn and directly to Lisa and then to Whitney and completely ignores Bronwyn. Bronwyn in a talking head's like, hello, hello, absolutely not. Hello, I mean, oh my God. You'd think I was covered in anthrax or poison ivy or something. And all you can imagine is that Bronwyn is listening to Todd's voice in her head of like, you just get out of that gutter right now, little lady. You cowboy up. But Bronwyn's like, the way that she swerved right around me. Mary turns to Heather, goes, did you not kiss Bronwyn? Did you not kiss Bronwyn? And Heather goes, no, I didn't. And Mary's like, oh, okay. And Heather's like, does she want a kiss? And blows her like a half-ass kiss. Mwah. And Mary's like, oh, okay. Okay. Is that how you want to play it? Okay. Dude, do not do this shit on Mary's turf, man. Mary is the queen of this castle, and you go by Mary's rules, and you kiss everybody on that line. So now we're led to the other room. And I got to tell you, it's weird. There's like black curtains set up that don't look like they're a part of the room, and maybe that's like blocking like lights for the shoot or whatever. And it's this beautiful tablescape with royal blue napkins, and everybody's like, Mary, this is spectacular. And Mary's like, oh, thank you so much. And then she's tripping over the rug. She's like, this rug is not for my heels. Everybody's like, this is gorgeous. It's like that typical housewives when they see each other and tell each other they look gorgeous, but now they're directing it towards the table. So Heather is sitting next to Mary. On the other side is Lisa Barlow. And then Meredith is right next to Lisa Barlow. On the other side, you have Angie Katsunavis, and you have Bronwyn right next to her, and then Whitney right next to Bronwyn, right? And you see that there's little gifts and cards that Mary Cosby has laid out. Remember that one season when Mary got them all like really expensive like earbuds or like headphones? Do you remember that at the Italian restaurant? And every one of these cards are different. And Heather's like, oh my God, it's so fun spirit. And then Angie says, listen, I'm not going to lie. I'm a little shocked to see this name tag here. And we see it's Brittany. Brittany finally got invited to something, or as we call her, Brittany. You know Brittany, Jared Osmond's lady love that Jared Osmond will not call his girlfriend. Brittany is invited. Good for you, Brittany, but she's not here. And Mary goes, well, I invited her because I wanted her to know that I'm not poor. Hey-oh, this is a revenge, is a dish best served cold. This is the best way to get back at Brittany for saying that Mary potentially was poor, to just bring her and just throw jewels at her, right? But they're all kind of laughing. Mary makes a face, and we flash back to the first episode where she's talking with Brittany, and Mary's like, I had 5 siblings and we never had enough. And Brittany's like, I was there. I grew up poor. And so I felt like, and Mary corrects it, hey, I wasn't poor. I didn't say that. In the scene, Angie Katsaneva says, I think the Versace plates will say I'm not poor. And everybody's picking up the plates, beautiful Versace plates. And Mary goes, these plates are called Russian Dream. Wow. And they're like, wow. And then Angie drops a little knowledge on us, goes, do you know Abraham Lincoln had plates with the Greek chi on it? It was like Versace. And Mary's like, who? And Angie's like, Abraham Lincoln. And Heather goes, first of all, how did Abraham Lincoln get Versace plates? And Angie's like, it was his wedding china, and they were pink, and they had the Greek key around it. And Lisa goes, but I don't think Versace was around when Abraham Lincoln was. Oh my God, the murder of Gianni Versace now has an Abraham Lincoln connection? But even Lisa Barlow realizes that Versace wasn't around during Lincoln times. And Angie's like, oh, I was lied to by somebody. In a talking head, Heather's laughing. Abe Lincoln and Gianni Versace lived 100 years apart. There's no way that Versace was chilling with Abe Lincoln. And if they had, Versace would have helped Abe Lincoln with his wardrobe. And they show a picture of Abe Lincoln and some, historical dudes in black and white. And then all of a sudden they put a little Versace coat on Abe Lincoln. And if you know Abe Lincoln, you know he might have really dug Versace. By the way, if you go a chance to see the play Oh, Mary on Broadway, so funny. All about Abe Lincoln and his wife, Mary Todd Lincoln. Anyways, Angie's like, let's Google it. Let's Google it. Yeah, Google it. Heather in the talking head goes, this is something we do not need to Google. And Angie laughs. I'm so silly. You know she's going to call whoever gives that information. Hey, where were you on that one, fucknut? I made a fool of myself saying that Lincoln had Versace. What the fuck? And then Brittany gets here. Brittany's like, hi. Sorry I'm late. And Mary rolls her eyes. And Mary goes, I didn't think you were going to come. And Brittany's like, thank you so much. The best comes last. No reaction to that. But Mary goes, I don't know about that, but thank you. And gives like a side eye to all the ladies. So Brittany's invited, which is nice, but she's also there as Mary's punching bag a little bit. And I'll allow it. And Brittany's in like this kind of like power suit, this white power suit. And she's like, I love the Audrey Hepburn bangs, Meredith, but it's scaring me. And Meredith goes, Brittany, did Mary send you a different invitation? And Mary goes, no, she got the same one. It would have been great if Mary did give her a different one that told her to dress in a power suit, And Meredith is having the gall to laugh at what Brittany's wearing when all the while she has the octopus on her forehead. But they're all kind of giggling. Mary goes, okay, and stands up. I want to do a cheers. Thank you all for coming to my home. And thank you all for coming in the theme of Audrey Hepburn, who we all love, I'm sure. And I just want to say cheers to friendship. We're still here. Cheers. Very inspirational speech from Mary Cosby. They all cheers and look each other, And by the way, these recaps really can't, the pomp and circumstance, you got to see it with your own eyes. Heather goes, Mary, thank you for the invite. I love that everyone here has been included. So Heather trying to stir the pot. I love that. I already know what's coming. I love that everyone's been included. And I think that's important, which we know did not happen for the Palm Desert trip. And Heather stares directly at Bronwyn when she says this. And Bronwyn takes this in and kind of shakes her head like, you want to go there? You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. So Heather goes, thank you for including everyone. I appreciate it. And Lisa even's like, oh my God. Heather in a talking head goes, this is a breakfast at Tiffany's party and I've decided to serve cunt right out of the gates. Oh, Heather, you're so fierce. Oh my God. Bad Mormon. She said C-U-N-T. Oh my God. Bad Mormon. It's just not working at all. It just feels scripted. Okay, we cut to break on that, right? Okay, Heather has just said we are serving C-U-N-T, or Heather herself is serving C-U-N-T. Very evocative. By the way, the only thing that is serving C-U-N-T at this table are Meredith's bangs. That's like, yeah, that's what's serving right now. Anyways, Mary says, and I would love everybody to enjoy Meredith's caviar. It's like a starter. And they're like, oh, it's Meredith's caviar. And Meredith's like, and today, this is the Kaluga. Last time you guys had Osetra. Prove it, biatch! And then Whitney goes, Mary, do you mind if we break bread? Can we dip the caviar in the bread? And they have creme fraiche. And Whitney's like, this is my favorite bread sauce. And they're passing around the bread. And then Mary tells Brittany, goes, and don't put the bread in your purse. And Brittany goes, it won't fit anyway, Mary. Because in the first episode, which by the way, listen, I'm so used to flashbacks in these shows that I thought we were immediately going to go flashback to that first episode where Brittany says she used to put bread in her purse as a little kid. And Mary's like, a little kid wouldn't have a purse. You did that as an adult. Like, where was the flashback on that? I love the use of non-flashbacks, but why choose that one not to flashback to? Anyways, Brittany's like, hey, all you ladies look slightly tanner. Uh-oh. Not only Heather is coming for Bronwyn, but Brittany is as well. And Bronwyn, there's a look at her face. She's like, ooh, okay. Tense music plays. Everybody's looking around. And Brittany's like, how many people went on the trip? Like the 5 of you and your husbands? And the 3 of us didn't? Now, Mary chose not to. She opted out of the trip because of her son, right? And Brittany says, Mary is the only one that invited me to anything this week. And, which is sort of shocking, Mary's the only one that actually gave me a call. Like, yeah, Lisa Barlow wasn't calling Brittany and going, what's up, girl? I'm in a hot tub and we miss you. That was saved for Heather. Brittany is like the black sheep of the Salt Lake City Housewives. And Brittany's like, you were at my house like the right before the trip. I invited you to a really special, like, family night at my house, Angie K. And Angie's like, I was honored. And Brittany's like, which was amazing, even though you brought a bottle of wine. And we do flash back to that where Angie Katsanevis was at the family religious gathering and she brought a bottle of wine. Now there's a Real Housewives of Salt Lake City after show that was only 20 minutes that I suggest watching because they go into this and Angie brought the bottle of wine was $100, which is like a pretty nice gift. And even Heather Gay, the Queen Mormon, said, yeah, like it is weird. You wouldn't do that. It's, drinking is strict no. But at the same time, there's no way Angie would have known that. Greeks and their religious services have wine. So it was just a nice thing to do. And also Brittany, from what they say, drinks like a fish outside of these religious events. So it's a nice gift. And also, if you're so embarrassed, take the bottle of wine and hide it. Like, what? How is this a storyline? Anyways, I just thought this was such a non-issue, but Brittany is bringing it up. And Brittany's like, and if it was just to me, but we were walking into a big church group, Angie K. You said you grew up with Mormons. To walk in with a bottle of wine, it seems off. Brittany is coming in just like a firebrand. She is coming in to like stir shit. And Angie wasn't expecting this punch at all. And Whitney's like, Brittany, what's with the bottle of wine, though? You're drinking champagne right now, Brittany. And Brittany's like, yeah, but that's for me. I wouldn't drink in front of my church group. I save that for at night in my closet or at bed. Like walking into a church group. And then Angie, I love Angie because she doesn't know exactly what to say. So something like kind of bizarre always comes out of her mouth. She's like, sorry, you're doing like 3 guys and you drink and you're claiming to be some total Mormon. And Brittany's like, I am not doing 3 guys. And Lisa goes, wow. And then Heather just has this big turtleneck on, so I can't. She looks like Big Ed from 90 Day Fiance. I can't tell if she has a neck because it's turtleneck. And even Mary Cosby is like, putting on some kind of lip, like I don't know, like lip thing. And even Mary's like, wow, wow. And we flash back to Angie K and Brittany in a scene where she's talking about Jared Osmond. She's like, Jared and I feel like we're good. I'm like getting closer to Aaron. I'm also dating this guy named Hal, who's also an incredible guy. He's amazing too. And Angie's like, wow. And so we now are at the dinner, the breakfast at Mary's. And Angie's like, listen, you were talking about all these guys and you're offended that I bring a bottle of wine to your house? And Brittany says again, I'm not doing 3 guys. I'm not doing 3 guys. Mary in a talking head goes, I don't know all the guys that Brittany are dating, but I do know that Jared keeps sliding into my DMs. Say what? Zoinks! Let's do a group Zoinks. And all of a sudden we see Jared Osmond's Instagram DMs with Mary, and they focus on this line, what a quality and amazing human. Jared has written her, what a quality. Hey, I'd love to share a charcuterie tray with you one day, Mary. I like the cut of your jib. You're a real hot to trot lady, and I love it. So I freeze framed this because I have no life. And I was trying to read some of the other things because they just focused on this one line, but it looks like it says, the message says, my amazing friend Mary. But he spells Mary, M-A-R-I. And it says, what a quality and amazing human you are. What a pleasure it was to meet you. And we just see that Mary hearted it, didn't reply back. And then March 17th, so that was at 12:58 a.m. Jared DM'd her at 12:58 a.m. He's like, you up, Mary? You up? I'm just singing some hymnals. Just doing some Osmond family rituals behind these Osmond gates. And I'm thinking about what a special lady you are. Like 12:58 a.m. And then it says 11:29 p.m. It says, Mary, it was such a pleasure. I think you're amazing. You have a blessed day as well. You are one of God's greatest daughters. You can feel it. Wow. So God's like, Mary's one of my greatest daughters, first off. But Jared can tell. He's like, I know. God, you're like God's favorite daughter. You're like one of those David Foster's kids. Jared Osmond. But this is weird too, because it says edited, so I don't know what that means. And it looks like they took out what Mary wrote to this, because it was like, you have a blessed day as well. So it seems like Mary at some point said, have a blessed day. Maybe that's just like an automated reply. If you DM Mary, it says, have a blessed day. Jared, oh my God, Jared, now you're like, Jared wants on Salt Lake City. He wants on this show. And I got to tell you, man, if the Brittany thing doesn't work out and Mary Cosby and her grandpa husband doesn't work out, would I love to see Jared Osmond and Mary date? You're damn right I would. That's quality television. Are you kidding me? And I need Brittany at some point to know that Jared Osmond DM'd. I was immediately connected to you as a daughter of God. I feel that spiritual connection still. I would love to share a plate of meats and cheeses with you, Mary. And Mary goes, well, he's like really nice, but like, why? And the producer goes, have you told Brittany? And she goes, no, I don't need that soap opera. I have a lot going on in my life right now. No. Mary Cosby knows how to live life, guys. Brittany keeps going, you're walking into a big church group with a bottle of wine, Angie K. And I just felt that was insensitive. And Bronwyn even gives a kind of a shook look, like, how did it go from not being invited to the trip to the fucking wine? And Angie goes, I did say, like, when we pray at communion, we drink wine. I told you that when I gave you the bottle. It was a bottle of wine for you. I didn't think you were going to open it for the ward. And Whitney's like, but Brittany, are you mad that she brought the wine or that she exposed that you drink? Ooh, pause, thunder beats of music. And Brittany just looks at Whitney like, what? Long pause. And Brittany goes, well, it kind of put me on the spot, and it's culturally awkward that I drink and go to church every week. You would understand, Heather. And points at Heather. Heather, Queen Bad Mormon. And it's talking to Heather goes, I totally get it. When I was in between those worlds, I would have been horrified if one of my friends had shown up with wine too. Mormons are not allowed to drink alcohol. not occasionally, not on celebrations. If you're trying to get around the rules, you need to go to the Church of Mormon 2.0, where I believe Lisa is holding meetings. And then Lisa is holding meetings. Lisa taking shrapnel. Lisa's not going to like that. But we see, right, the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. You know, they drink their like fancy sodas, but some of them obviously drink with the soft swinging and all of that stuff. So it's like any religion. There's rule breakers and like, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. But I love that Brittany is drinking on camera and then's like, how dare you? You were at a special church day at my house. Like, just take the wine and put it in a cabinet immediately. You're making it a bigger issue. So Brittany goes, I'm just on the edge because I feel so excluded in this group. And Lisa's like, Brittany, I wouldn't have even thought to check in on you because I wouldn't think you would be sad about not being there because you've been super rude about Todd and Bronwyn's life. So Lisa Barlow being a good friend of Bronwyn right here. And Bronwyn smiles like, look at my good friend Lisa defending me. Haha, that's right. And Mary Cosby goes, it's not okay to talk about people's husbands and their grandpas. And Bronwyn's like, you have called me a gold digger, Brittany. And Brittany's like, yeah. You have said Todd is disgusting. And she's like, no, I did not. I never said Todd. You said there's no way I was physically attracted to him. You said our relationship is bullshit. You don't believe it. I need to prove it to you. And Brittany's like, yes, I did say that. I did say that. Yes, I did say that. And then I said, it's time to take a break from this. You said, I will not. Everyone has said it. And Brittany's like, I said everyone's thinking it because they are. Let's get back to Brittany and her date. By the way, in the after show, they talked about like dating, like it only means like kisses, like no under the clothes stuff. It's just like dating means like a kiss at the most, they say in the after show. So who knows if we believe that, but that's what Brittany's story and she's sticking to it. Heather downs her glass and Lisa goes, I've never thought that. I've never thought that. No. And then Heather, trying to be Heather, goes, and why didn't you have a prenup? So now we're back on the prenup thing. And Bronwyn takes this in and kind of is looking down. You know, spiritually, she's crossing her arms like Todd, you know, looking down on everyone. And she's like, you've got to let go of the prenup, Heather. You really do. You want to keep knocking on that door? You're not gonna like it when I open it. If you're going to keep knocking on the prenup door, you are not going to like it. It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. And Heather, feeling herself, goes, oh, open the door, honey. Open the door. Open it, Bronwyn. I want to see you unleash that door on Heather Gay. In a talking head, Heather goes, I just think it's stupid for anyone at this stage of our lives to get into any marriage without a prenup if you have reasonable assets to protect. I'd get a prenup before I fucked anybody at this point. Ugh, God. It's grating every last nerve I have. Bronwyn goes in a talking head, I don't need to prove my situation to Heather, but what I think is really interesting is that the first place her brain jumped to was, what do I get out of my marriage to Todd, and what would I get out of the end of my marriage to Todd? So I don't know who that makes a gold digger. Exactly, Bronwyn. Take it. Eat that humble pie, Heather. In the scene, she goes, doesn't matter whether I have a prenup, Heather, or not. The fact that you don't know my husband and have opined, I love the word opined. You have opined multiple times on what he should or should not have done blows my mind. Todd at home, the Todd father can feel a dark presence. He goes, I feel my wife going into the gutter right now and I need her to get out. And Heather's like, multiple times. And then she goes, pray tell, Shakespeare. And Brittany, there's a shot of Brittany going, ha 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 ha, drinking her wine that she's not supposed to be drinking. And then Heather goes, I know 3 things about your husband. I know that he doesn't have a prenup with you. I know that he collects Starbucks mugs. And by the way, there's like a record scratch and everybody's like, Starbucks, what the fuck, Starbucks mugs? And we flash back to Heather Gay visiting Bronwyn's place. And Heather's like, what are those mugs? What are these mugs? And Bronwyn's like, everywhere Todd travels, he buys a Starbucks mugs. And then Heather goes, what a fun little thing to collect. And then makes this face like, ugh, gross. You know what I'll have you know, Heather Gay? My niece collects Starbucks mugs. Yeah, my niece. I love my niece. How dare you? And yeah, my niece is exactly like Todd. And how dare you? Yeah. Those Starbucks mugs are very popular. They're collectibles, damn it. Would I collect them? No. But I also collect Batman action figures. So buzz off. And Mary Cosby even gives a look like, what the fuck, Starbucks? You do not talk about Starbucks mugs in this house. And then Heather Gay also says, and I know that he is an asshole on couples trips when he wants someone to leave. That's all I know about your husband, and that's enough for me to know that I shouldn't get to know him further. Ooh, gross. Heather Gay being disgusting. You know what? I didn't want it before, but now I do want Jen Shah to come back so you can kiss her ass again and live up her butthole like you did for all of those seasons, knowing full well that she was a criminal. I'm sorry. I'm heated now. How dare you, Heather Gay? You are feeling yourself, and you should not be feeling yourself this hard. You are not. You can win the scene and lose the show. You know what I'm saying? Because Heather probably walked out of this scene thinking she won it, and I feel like a lot of us are like, no way. And now it signals to Bronwyn that Lisa has let Heather know that Todd asked them to leave. And even Bronwyn's head is like going back and forth, side to side, like she's doing like Jane Fonda aerobics. It's like whip, whip, whip. And Bronwyn's like, cute, Lisa, cute. And Lisa goes, cute from me? What did I do? And she's shaking her head. And then Mary goes, but can I say this just to you really quick? Bronwyn does care if you guys get along. So talks directly to Heather. And Mary is now, this is how weird this show is, that Mary is now the reliable narrator where Heather has to listen to what Mary says. And we're in Mary's domain. So Mary goes, hey, Bronwyn does care. Bronwyn does care. Look at me. Hey, Heather, in my eyes, look at me. And the food is being served, and Whitney's like, ooh, yum, yum. And Mary goes, Heather, if you don't believe so, that's fine. My opinion, it matters to her. So it's important you guys get it straight with her. And then Heather goes, then you'd invite me on a group trip. And Bronwyn goes, Heather, I said to you, I want you to come. I am planning for you to come. And I even bought you a first-class return ticket. And Heather goes, how did you book a ticket for me? Oh, God, it's like dealing with my dad. Like, he wouldn't know how to book a ticket. He's like, how do you book a ticket for... And by the way, I swear to God, I was waiting so much for Lisa Barlow to be like, first class ticket? Are you fucking kidding me? You bought a first class ticket for Heather? I could have had that ticket. You made me fly in coach. Like somebody from West Covina. Are you kidding? Like, I was waiting for Lisa didn't say anything. But Bronwyn goes, honestly, I asked somebody else for your birthday and your name. And Whitney kind of leans in like, this is getting juicy and spicy. Alibaba. And Heather goes, you did? Who did you ask? Because not a single person here knows my actual birthday because I've lied to every single one of them. You just told on yourself, you dork, because I've lied to each person in this room. Just like Jen Shah lied to all of us. Just like Rihanna Von Teese lied to all of us. But I, too, am a liar. Take that, Bronwyn. I have lied to everybody. I have said my birth date was 1998. Ha ha. And now even Mary gives this look like, what? Like even a worse look than the Starbucks mug look. Like, huh? And then Whitney in a talking head goes, Siri, when is Heather's birthday? And she's like, her birthday is June 29th. And Whitney looks up at the camera and goes, but I have no idea what year. So she has scrubbed her birth year from the internet. And I got to say, I don't care how old Heather is. The producer goes, Heather, what is your actual birthday? And then Heather goes, none of your fucking business. She's a bad Mormon from the wrong side of the tracks. Salt Lake City is glowing, but Heather Gay eats ass. 'Cause it's none of your fucking business. The year that I was born. You can't buy a first class ticket for me. I'm not gonna take it no more. Because I'm a liar. Yes, I'm a liar. I lied about my black eye, and I lied about knowing Jen Shah's business, and I lied about reality Von Teese in the final episode of season 4. That would have been great if it was season 3. It would have rhymed. But anyways, she's like, none of your fucking business. Next. And then Bronwyn pulls up on the phone. Here's Heather's ticket. Heather, here's your cancellation. And Heather's like, let me see your phone. Let me see it. Let me see it. Let me see it. And Bronwyn's like, it says Heather Gay. It says when I canceled it. And she's like, well, I'd like to look at the date. I'd like to look at that date. You know, she's all flustered. Well, I'd like to look at the date. I'd like that. I'd love to see the flight. I'd love to see it. And Bronwyn's like, I'll forward it to you, please. So Heather goes, so who took my first class ticket spot that Bronwyn so generously for me with my unknown birth date? And they're like, not us, not us. Not one of you guys, Heather says. And Lisa goes, I couldn't move myself because there was one ticket available. And by the time John went back in the app, it was gone. But I wish I knew that how I was getting home and I would have bought my ticket myself. So I'm like, oh man, we're fully going off the rails here. Because now the plane stuff gets brought up. Pause. And Bronwyn goes, this is insane. And Lisa goes, Angie, you weren't exactly thrilled. And Angie's like, I was fine with the plane. No, you were not. You wouldn't be fine. And Angie's like, no, I just knew you wouldn't be fine, Lisa. No, you were not fine, Angie Kane. You died when you saw your seat number. I mean, do you think God, do you think God's like, are they fucking kidding me with this flight shit? Lisa goes, you're the one that even brought it up to me with how are you getting home? Check your ticket. And Angie's like, no, I didn't. I really didn't know how I was getting home. So to be like worried about you and you saying this, that's shocking to me. Like completely shocking. And Angie's like looking at her like, what? And we flash back to last week's episode where Angie goes, oh, where's Sean sitting? I'm 19A. And Lisa goes, pulls her phone down. And Angie's like, why? Where are you sitting, Lisa? I don't know. We need to get to there so we can fix our ticket. I need to and Angie's like, you're not going to be able to fix your ticket. It's a small plane. You're never going to get first class at this point. I'm Lisa Barlow. I can do anything. In the scene, Bronwyn goes, does it feel totally asinine that anyone was worried about? And Angie goes, yeah, it was a gift. And I was grateful. I flew you there. Just FYI, your husband's got gifts. You got gifts. There's a shot of Meredith, and there's a shot of Meredith, those bangs. I think the bangs even have eyes at this point. I'm like, the bangs are even like, oh my God, this is asinine. She's like, everybody got gifts. Your husband got gifts from me. I had the house. I took you to Indy, and everyone gives a flying fuck where they sat for 67 minutes on the way home. I do want to know how long this flight is, because last week they said it was 43 minutes and then 67 minutes. Jeff Lewis on the radio this week said it was hour and a half. So a lot of weirdness on the time. But Bronwyn's like, this is wild bullshit. And Heather goes, if it doesn't matter where you sit for 67 minutes, why did you book yourself and your husband in first class and them all in coach? And Bronwyn, without skipping a beat, goes, cause it was my goddamn credit card. Now that's serving C-U-N-T. Heather, you can't do it, but Bronwyn can. Yeah, it was her goddamn credit card. Her goddamn credit card. Tense music plays, and Heather has a light zoiks face, like zoiks. But it's just the turtleneck. Zoinks! Zoink! Zoinks! Zoinks! Ow! You got, Heather. Didn't play well. There's everybody's shots of everybody just watching Bronwyn say this. And it really is. Bronwyn, this is she's unflappable. She's flappable with Todd, but she's unflappable with these ladies, even though there's a little bit of deep insecurity with Lisa and the rest of these ladies. But I'm glad in these moments she's still standing. By the way, this to me is Audrey Hepburn. Regal. Back straight. It was my goddamn credit card. So I put myself where I wanted to be. And Heather goes, yeah, exactly. What point does that prove? Yeah, put herself, who cares? More just silence. Bronwyn in a talking head goes, I see what Heather does with the other ladies. She spins them out of control and they forget that she was the one who was wrong in the argument that they're having. I'm not going to be spun by Heather. In the scene, Bronwyn goes, it doesn't matter what I say to Heather. Heather's going to say there's another problem. There's no getting through a problem with you because once I say, actually, I was trying to invite you. And Heather's like, you're so astute for someone who's known me for so long. And she looks at her watch. We get the so long. We don't need the, I get it, so long. And Bronwyn's like, see, every time I say, let's get all the way to the bottom of this, Heather changes what it is she's mad at me about. Nailed it. Yes, Bronwyn. Yes. And Heather knows she got. Whitney goes, I know that we shared the same trauma in friendships and trusting people. And Heather goes, I don't think it's lovely to leave one of your friends out because she's single and goes on a couple's trip. That's a different, but Heather, and Heather keeps trying to overtalk, and Whitney's, but can she give you a chance? And Heather just keeps, I know that I'm coming on strong, Whitney. I know that I'm angry. I know that I'm coming hard at Bronwyn. I know all this because I'm very hurt. She realized she was losing, so she pivoted. In acting classes, you would all characters' motivations and all that. Everybody's trying to get something, and if you don't get it one way, you have to pivot. You have to okay, I got to try to get it through another avenue. So now Heather's going to go, okay, I didn't win over here, so now I have to win and try to make people feel bad at me because inside I'm hurt. I don't think Heather Gay was hurt at all, and I think she ended up loving it because Lisa Barlow started liking her again. So she says, I'm very hurt. And Bronwyn goes, at this point, Heather, I am still open to getting to know you. I am. I think you have a very wrong opinion of who I am, and I wanted to show you differently on the trip, and we didn't get there. I love that poor Brittany's like, what the fuck about me, you guys? What? But there is part of me that feels like it's not just me in this situation. You don't want to hear me saying to you, I want you to come, I want to fix it. You don't. She's right. Nailed it. And Heather, you can do a tight shot of Heather's face where she's like, yes, she's got me there. She starts shaking her head, realizing she can't win this now. And Heather goes, I am fiercely defensive of my friendships. They are the family that has replaced the family that I've lost. I'm assuming she means the Mormon family because she's a bad Mormon. But also, like I said, these aren't true. They're friendships, like working friendships, right? I believe they are part of a group. The Beatles will always be the Beatles, and they always have this period of time that they shared working intensely with each other, But, do I think Heather Gay on a daily basis hangs out with any of these ladies? No, unless they're on some sort of press junket, right? And Heather goes, and we have a very dysfunctional, complicated relationship. I don't expect you to understand. And Meredith's shaking her head, and it's just making that little fucking raccoon on her head like Bob. It's yep. Heather goes, so I'm very cautious of new people coming into this group. I'm very cautious. And you can see how this has been incredibly disruptive for me. Has it? I had to close Beauty Lab and Laser for a week because of this. Heather goes, I have people that love me and have had my back universally in horrible situations. They're not at this table. Heather goes, and to be left out like that hurt my feelings. And I'm going to process that. I'm sorry that it's coming off so mean at you. I will take you at face value that you wanted me there. I'm sure you didn't want this type of disruption in your life, and I am sorry for that. I would be absolutely open to clean slate and moving forward. Ooh. And Bronwyn goes, okay, yes. And then Heather goes, so let's cheers. Let's just, let's fucking cheers then. Let's fucking cheers. Really, Heather had to think quickly on her feet, realize that the tabulations and her calculations in her head, she couldn't win, and then had to backtrack. Okay, I am open. I will take you at face value. I am fierce. I have fought in the Salt Lake City Army for these last 3-4 seasons. And then Lisa goes, yay, I'm glad that this is where it ended up. This is great. And everybody's like, eye contact, make eye contact when you cheers. And then Lisa goes, now, no more side eyes at me, Bronwyn. It always comes back to Lisa. Now don't look at me side eyes. And she goes, ha, 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 ha. But everybody's laughing. Everybody's like, okay. It's like I just watched The Godfather this weekend, so everything's like The Godfather, but it's like a peace between the 5 mafia families, right? There's like a peace. So they're all just like, yes, okay. Heather in a talking head says, Bronwyn and I have clearly gotten off to a terrible start, but so did me and Lisa. And we flash back to the first season where Lisa Barlow is talking about the text message from Heather going, you sent me a thumbs up. I go, Heather, that's a fuck you. And Heather's like, 2 thumbs up is the FU, and that's a universal text code. Don't diminish the thumbs up text. Don't diminish. Now that I think about it, Salt Lake really has always been that show. It's always been that ridiculous show. Right? And Heather goes, and look at us now. Look at us now. So, I don't know what the future holds for us, right? But I am hopeful that we can, start fresh, put it behind us, right? And everybody's clapping. Everybody's clapping. So like peace has been brokered. It's really kind of nice. Okay, so the magic of podcasting, you don't know that I just took like a 2.5 hour break to have dinner, put holiday ornaments on a tree. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can tell I had dinner because I spilled on my nice white Loverboy sweatshirt. Red Sauce don't want to see me coming. But we just got out of Heather Gay kind of saying, Bronwyn, I'll give you a second chance. And I want to say, because I just rewatched the OC Part 3 reunion that came out tonight. We'll do a full recap for you on Saturday. But it reminds me a lot about Tamra. When they realize they can't win, in those final moments, they switch gears. And like tonight, like I told you would see, Tamra and Shannon were hugging on the third part of the reunion. And Andy's like, oh, that's nice. It's kind of nice. But it's like Tamra was talking shit about Shannon throughout the entire season. Even it was on air, she was still talking shit. So I don't know. But Heather reminds me a little bit of those kind of moves that Tamra was making towards Shannon. Now, I know the Tamra-Shannon relationship is so much deeper than the Heather-Bronwyn at this point, but it's just similar vibes. So anyways, everybody's clapping for these ladies, and then Brittany's like, you're all clapping, but this is not cool. This is not cool, you guys. Seriously, what about me? That's Brittany Bateman's title of her album. What About Me? The Brittany Bateman story. And I will tell you, I love Brittany. She cracks me up. And Mary Cosby's like, oh, Lord, have mercy. And Brittany's like, this, come on, guys. What about me? And Bronwyn's like, get this woman a puppy. She needs unconditional love from somewhere. Please, get her a puppy. And Brittany is standing up and waving her like blue napkin. She's like, now there's this big kumbaya moment over the table. And Angie's like, you're feeling left out. And she's like, yes, I seriously am so sick of this. I would love to have a sit down. I would love to have the same kind of kumbaya moments. And Mary's like, well, we are sitting down, Brittany, right now. We're all sitting down here at this table. If you wanted a kumbaya moment, and Lisa's like, yeah, if you wanted a kumbaya moment, you could say, I'm sorry. So Brittany immediately goes, Bronwyn, I officially apologize for those mean things that I said about your husband. And she's like, serious, Bronwyn, I officially apologize about the mean things I said about you and your husband. Okay. And Bronwyn's like, okay, because everybody told you had to move on, or because you really feel that way? As Bronwyn is like sipping her soup. And Brittany's like, no, because I really feel that way. I really feel that way. And Bronwyn's like, okay. And she's like, food? Okay, sure. Not even really directly looking at her. Okay. And Mary's kind of laughing internally. And Brittany's like, well, I'm glad I'm having this conversation. I actually really needed this. Trying to have a moment, right? And they have a shot of Meredith with her goofy bangs. Like, yeah, right. So Mary, the peacemaker, Mary, the mediator here is like, okay, so maybe we can invite Brittany in better because she's trying to come in, something that's not even really fixed. And then maybe we could grow together because that is the sole reason why you're here. Whatever each other's saying, listen to them. Just listen. Stop talking at them and with them and just listen to them and let them get it out. And they have a shot of Heather Gay, and you can only imagine Heather Gay is thinking, how the fuck did Mary Cosby be the one with reason? Who knew 5 seasons in? So Mary's like, work it out and get over it and let's move on from this day forward. And then Angie's like, and Angie, this is like so good. Like, right? You could have ended the episode here and go, okay, super weird, but we worked it out. But Angie goes, hey, well, I don't want to like pile on, but I want to talk with Meredith. So Angie wants her moment now. And Meredith goes, I'm sure she does. And Heather's like, oh, we need a refill on wine for that one. And they like Eduardo, and there's a shot of Eduardo. I don't know if Eduardo can hear too good because he just doesn't make any facial reactions when he's being summoned. So Mary Cosby's like, okay, come on, let's go. Let's do it. Angie's like, Meredith, I want to move forward with you, but I'm having some unresolved feelings since Palm Springs. And I can't even recap this seriously because they have a shot of Meredith listening and shaking her head, but all I'm looking at is those nasty bangs. So she's like, yeah, I want to talk about what happened in Palm Springs with the whole podcast thing with Sean, you know? And Meredith goes, all I did was try to deal with an unresolved issue that had never been addressed before. And he's like, okay. And I just wanted to feel a level of resolve because this is about my child. It's about my child. And if something were concerning Electra, I know you would feel the same. Yeah? The problem for me came in that you started going backwards into all this stuff. And I don't want to go backwards. If we want to go backwards, it's not going to be pretty for anybody. I love how Meredith will always, when she's like pushed against a wall in any kind of light way, she'll like weirdly threaten. It's not going to be pretty for anybody in this room or anybody that you know in your life. Like, what does that even mean? It's not going to be pretty. That's all I can say. Was that a threat? No, it's definitely not a threat. I'm just saying it doesn't sound like it would be pretty. Just like my bangs. So there's tense music playing. We cut to break. And we come back from break. Everybody's taking in what Meredith just said. And Andy's like, is that a threat? And Meredith goes, didn't I just say I don't want to do that? Yeah, we did, Andy says, but we're not talking about going backwards. I'm talking about going forwards. I just said I don't want to do that. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's staring at each other. And then Whitney goes, a threat is if you want to go there. I'll bring up the past and no one wants that. That's a threat. That's a threat. And Mary's like, I said, if you want to go backwards, we can do that. Because you're asking to do, but I don't want you to do. And Angie's like, I didn't say you did. It's like really confused. I didn't say you did. Well, and Meredith's like, are you kidding me? Oh my God, I can't talk. I can't even talk. And she's like, you said if you want to go backwards, we can go backwards. You said that. Yeah, I don't, but I don't want to, is what I just said. And Whitney's trying not to laugh out loud. She's like, it's so funny. I'm trying not to laugh. Like, it is redonkulous. Lisa's laughing. Heather's trying not to laugh. And Angie goes, I do feel like it's like this continued. I think we're moving forward. I think you like Sean. And Meredith's like, yes. I think I like Seth. I think you and I can get along, Meredith. And then something comes up. And I think it got misconstrued. And I think what my husband was trying to say was you throwing out, you want me to go there with husband? So Angie does a little like Meredith. You want me to go there with husband? We can go there with husband. And Angie's like I can make threats about your husband. It didn't land well. Another pause. And then Angie drops the thing that's like most personal to Meredith and goes, Angie goes, and we got a lot of support from the LGBTQ plus community. And that's, to me, the final straw for Meredith. And Angie's like, that didn't like what you were throwing out there, Meredith. And Meredith goes, okay, I'm going to cut this off right now at LGBTQ+. I'm still talking and then you can talk, Angie K. Because you can sit there. And Angie's like, don't cut it off, Meredith. Don't cut. Oh, I will cut this off. I'll cut it off like my bangs. And Angie's like, no, you have to listen, Meredith. And Meredith is like, ridiculous. In a talking head, Angie says, Meredith alluded to rumors that my husband was gay. She got trolled like hell online, and she tried to backpedal. I would never talk about someone's sexuality because my son is gay. But you did, Angie says. I mean, I love Meredith, but Angie has a leg to stand on here. Angie says neither of these topics would have been brought up had she not opened her mouth. And Meredith and the singers, Angie, I'm tired of this. You have a consistent habit of deny. And then Angie does her Angie move where she stands up and points. And she goes, hey, listen, I'm Greek. Did you say my husband didn't? Meredith's like, did you say my husband didn't say these things? And then Meredith's like, let's play them and be abundantly clear. And Meredith whips out her phone, right? And I'm like, are we going to play music? What are we doing here? And Meredith goes, you want to go there? We can go there. I mean, so it is reminiscent of that. You want to talk about the husband? We can talk about the husband. You want to go there? We can go there. Here we go. So she's about to play something, and I'm like, oh my God, are we going to hear Wicked? What's going on? And it's actually the podcast that Sean was on. And we hear Sean's voice from Meredith's phone going, there was a whole bunch of backpedaling happening. And, you know, she's a smart woman. And I think she took the opportunity. And Whitney grabs Meredith's phone to turn up the volume on the phone. And Meredith's like, I'll hold my own phone. I will take my own phone, because Whitney's just turning on the volume. But the quickness in which Meredith moves up from the table to grab the phone from Whitney, and I'm like, what else is on that fucking phone? Even, you can tell even the servers finally come alive. They're like, oh gosh. And Whitney's like, just pause it. And Meredith's like, stop scrolling on my phone. I'm turning up the volume. There's no scrolling. I'm just turning up volume. Mary Cosby's like, zoinks. I'm just turning up volume. I turned it up. Mary's like, I turned it up. Don't grab my phone. Don't grab my phone. Whitney's like, listen. Well, then don't put it in my face. And then Whitney has a really great talking head where she has like a fake Meredith Marks Bangs wig. And she's like, my phone, how dare you? How dare you? Angie goes, Meredith, pulling up your videos. You're hateful. You're miserable. You live to try and expose people. And Meredith goes, stop. And Angie's like, because you're miserable. Now, these are tough words from Angie K. And then Mary Cosby's like, okay, Angie, no. Angie. And then Meredith's like, you're miserable, Angie K. Leave. And then Meredith goes, leave me alone, Meredith says. But she doesn't go, leave me alone, like she did last season. She just goes, leave me alone. And Angie keeps going, you're miserable. You're miserable. And Mary Cosby says, if you're not going to listen to me. And Angie keeps talking, and Mary Cosby finally goes, Angie! And Angie finally sits down. And Mary's like, I didn't deny shit. And Mary Cosby says the same thing to Meredith. Meredith, if you're not going to listen to me, get out of my house. And immediately Meredith is like, I will. Thank you very much. I was asked to leave, so I will leave. And Meredith's like, no. I said, if you're not going to listen to me, you can leave. Did you not just tell me, Mary Cosby, to get out of your house? And Mary's like, I just said, if you're not going to listen, let me talk. And listen to me. You're screaming at her. Let's just go to the other room and have a break. You were just raising your voice. And Angie's like, I didn't deny shit. Brittany's like standing up wanting a moment potentially. And Mary Cosby's like, I didn't put you out, Meredith. Don't do that. Don't leave. And Meredith's like, yeah, I am. I truly think Meredith caught a look of herself in the mirror. Was like, by the look of these bangs, I gotta go. And Mary's like, you're going to leave, Meredith? And she goes to kiss Mary Cosby on the face. I love you? And Mary's like, this is not love. Not leaving. And she's like, I truly do love you. But I'm hurt, Mary Cosby. And I need to process. My own things. And Mary's like, so I'm not deep enough to get this straight. You're just going to leave me? And Meredith goes, I'm sorry. You hurt me. I got completely attacked for the 8,000th time by this group. I have to go. I just have to go. And she's like crying. I have to go. And then she's like, well, it's good we got that out. And then Meredith on the way out is like, clearly you and Angie have had a field day ripping me apart. Continue and have fun. I'll give you free reign to talk about me. And then one of the penguins in the tuxedo is like, can I check your name out on the door? The door list out, And he's like opening the door. And everybody's like, oh my God, And Angie goes, when she walks? When it gets tough. That's when she walks. Mary Cosby in a talking head goes, "It's like, thank you, Lord. She took them bangs with her. This is Audrey Hepburn, not the Flintstones." Mary Cosby with the great capper at the end there. Next time on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And we see that the ladies are on some, wilderness adventure. They look like Heather Gay and Whitney look like they're dressed like Troop Beverly Hills. We see Maylee, Whitney's friend, is back. And they're like, welcome to camp. And we see them doing potato sack races. Lisa says, I can't hop. I will literally pee my pants. So it's not like when John Barlow says his favorite sexual positions when Lisa's on top and bouncing. I don't know. Anyways. And then Heather in a scene goes, what does Whitney say about me, Bronwyn? And Bronwyn's like, you said that Heather is trying so hard to be friends with Lisa that she's not a good friend to you and Angie. And Whitney's like, no. And Lisa's like, don't lie. And then Angie's like, everybody shut the fuck up. And then a really sad scene that we're going to see finally next week with Mary and her son, where Mary's asking Robert Jr., I want to know, how are you? And Robert Jr. is crying. And Mary Cosby is crying. So we're going to have a tough conversation next week. So obviously Mary Cosby will not be on the Troop Beverly Hills trip, but we will be there and we're going to have fun. You guys, what a supersized episode. We had Victoria Lawson on earlier from House of Villains. If you're watching that on YouTube, that'll be a separate video. But I hope you had a great time and come back on Saturday for a Real Housewives of Orange County finale of the entire season with the third part of the reunion. But thank you guys for all that you do for me. I appreciate it. If you get a chance, leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Hello, Patreon members. What up, baddies? And that's it, man. We are so close to Thanksgiving. Okay. Bye.